If you keep doing what's easy, your life stays hard. But when you start doing what's hard, money finds you. Most people are stuck, not because they don't have potential, but because they keep making the same small decisions every day that lead them nowhere. They waste time, avoid pressure, and let distractions control them. Then they sit back and wonder why money never comes. The truth is, money doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to action, real, focused, daily action. If you're tired of watching others win while you feel stuck, this is for you. If you've been working hard but still feel broke, you're not lazy. You've just been doing the wrong things. You don't need more motivation. You need direction. You need the truth. And that's what this will give you. In this one listen, you're going to hear the reality most people avoid. No fluff, no shortcuts, just what works. Step by step, straight talk, real results. So stop everything else you're doing, turn the noise off, and give yourself this one shot to hear what might finally change your thinking. Because when your mindset shifts, your money starts moving. Just listen, one time. That's all it takes. Number one, stop wasting time on things that make nothing. Most people are tired not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too many things that lead to nothing. Your life feels heavy not because it's full of work, but because it's full of distractions. You keep reaching for noise, more content, more opinions, more entertainment, more scrolling. And you wonder why you feel stuck. You wonder why you can't focus. You wonder why your goals seem blurry and your mind feels restless. It's because you've filled your time with things that look like motion but have no direction. And that is the truth most won't tell you. Today, I want you to stop. Just stop. Be honest with yourself. How much of your day is spent chasing things that bring you zero return? Not just in money, but in clarity, peace, strength, and discipline. How much of your time is eaten by things you didn't ask for, but keep letting in? Think about the hours you give away to noise that doesn't serve your future. Think about the mental energy you lose on arguments, meaningless scrolling, overthinking, and the opinions of people who don't even know who they are. You don't need more motivation. You need more silence. You need more time with your thoughts. You need more stillness where your real goals can breathe. The truth is, most people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of being alone with themselves. They use noise to drown out what's broken inside. But growth starts when you stop running from that silence, when you sit with your own mind, when you finally ask, what do I really want? And why do I keep avoiding it? You can't fix your life if you won't face it. You can't win in life if your mind is scattered and overloaded with things that have nothing to do with who you want to become. If you want to be clear, if you want to be strong, if you want to be rich in purpose and rich in reward, you have to slow down and remove the nonsense. You have to stop chasing everything that pops up and learn to focus on what matters most. Ask yourself this simple question. Does this thing I'm doing get me closer to the life I say I want? If the answer is no, then why are you still doing it? Your time is not endless. Every moment wasted is a moment you'll never get back. It's not coming again. You can't afford to give away your future for a little comfort today. That's what most people do. That's why most people stay average. You have to start feeling what your mind needs. You have to get to know yourself better than the world knows how to distract you. You have to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Focus is the one thing that separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. And you can't focus in the middle of chaos. You can't think clearly if your mind is always reacting to something. Turn off the noise. Not just your phone, but your need to be everywhere, see everything, and respond to everyone. It's not helping you, it's hurting you. Real confidence doesn't come from being busy, it comes from being clear. And clarity shows up when you stop listening to everything and start listening to yourself. That's when you realize what's been missing. That's when you notice what your life has been calling for all along. Discipline, intention, structure, and direction. That's when you realize how strong your mind can be when it's not being pulled in 50 directions. You don't need more apps, more entertainment, more information. You need more control. You need more peace. You need to start building a space in your life where your mind can think again. Because when your mind is calm, your decisions are better. When your mind is clean, your goals make more sense. When your mind is quiet, your energy doesn't leak out into useless things. And when your energy is protected, your progress becomes consistent. That's the formula. That's how strong people are made. Most people don't fail because of big problems. They fail because of 1,000 tiny distractions that kill their focus. They fail because they trade important work for meaningless comfort. They fail because they stay busy but never productive. You've got to cut that cycle. You've got to become aware of how much you're giving away for nothing in return. Start noticing what steals your energy. Notice who pulls you into drama. Notice which habits drain you and leave you feeling empty. Notice what makes you lose track of your mission. And then make a decision to change. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Say no to what's not helping you grow. Stop arguing just to prove you're right. Stop scrolling hoping to feel better. Stop feeding your brain things that make you numb. And start choosing what makes you sharper. Start doing what makes you think deeply. Start listening to things that stretch your mind and remind you of who you are becoming. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every hour you claim back from distraction is a victory. Every time you sit in silence instead of chasing noise, you get stronger. And when you do it enough, you stop craving the noise altogether. You start loving your own company. You start liking the sound of your thoughts. You start hearing your real voice again. And that's when everything changes. That's when you begin to move different. You stop reacting and start planning. You stop rushing and start building. You stop chasing money and start becoming the kind of person it comes to. Because money follows clarity. Money follows discipline. Money follows people who know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and where they're going. You have to become that person. Not someday. Not when life gets easier. Right now. Build the kind of mind that's so strong nothing can shake it. Build the kind of focus that scares people who gave up on themselves. Build the kind of habits that bring you results when motivation is gone. That's how you win. That's how you change. That's how money comes to you. Not through noise, not through randomness, through clarity, through silence, through choosing what matters over what's trending. The world is full of noise. Don't let it drown out the voice that's trying to pull you forward. Feel what your mind needs, respect it, guard it, and watch how fast your life transforms. Number 2, build something useful that people already want now. People are tired of empty ideas. They're tired of products, services, and messages that don't solve anything. They don't want another theory, they want results. They want help. They want something that actually makes life better, faster, smoother, or more efficient. If you want money to come to you, build something useful. Build something people are already looking for. Build something they'd gladly pay for right now. Most people waste years trying to convince others to want what they made, instead of creating something people already want. That's the mistake. That's why they struggle. That's why their ideas don't get off the ground. They build from emotion instead of awareness. They don't study the problems. They don't ask what people need. They just assume the world will care. But the world doesn't care. People are not waiting to applaud your effort. They're waiting for a solution. And if you don't offer one, they move on. That's why building something useful is not a soft idea. It's not just about being creative or passionate. It's about being real. It's about meeting people where they are. It's about solving problems that keep them up at night. If you want money to chase you, give people something they would talk about even when you're not around. Give them something that makes them feel seen, heard, and supported. That's how you grow. That's how you last. The key is usefulness. Usefulness is more powerful than branding, marketing, or even passion. If what you offer makes someone's life better, they won't care how big your name is. They won't ask how long you've been in business. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember how easy you made something. They'll come back because what you gave them worked. And you don't need millions of followers to do this. You don't need a giant audience. You just need a clear offer that solves a clear problem. One useful solution can change your life. One idea that people need right now can fund your freedom, build your reputation, and earn you trust in places you never imagined. But you have to stop chasing complexity. You have to stop building things to impress people and start building things that actually help them. What does the market need today? What do people complain about every week? What task are they tired of doing? What's slowing them down? What's confusing them? What's keeping them from moving forward? Answer those questions and you'll find the opportunity. If you spend time listening more than selling, you'll know exactly what to build. Most people don't listen. They're too busy talking. They're too focused on the next big thing instead of the next useful thing. And here's the truth. People will always pay for usefulness. They'll pay to save time. They'll pay to reduce stress. They'll pay to make something easier, faster, cleaner, smoother, more reliable. That's what they want. That's what they're already looking for. If you can deliver it better than what's already out there, you don't need to beg for attention. The results will speak. The results will travel. The results will do the talking for you. But you have to be willing to build. Not dream, not talk. Build. You have to sit down, focus, and create something with your own hands, your own brain, your own process. You have to test it, refine it, simplify it, and keep making it better. People don't want more. They want better. They want clean. They want simple. They want dependable. If your solution is messy, they'll avoid it. If your message is unclear, they'll scroll past it. If your product is overcomplicated, they'll get frustrated. You must think like the person you're serving. Step into their shoes. Feel their stress. Understand their routines. Learn how they think. And then deliver something that just fits. Something that makes sense without needing an explanation. Money's not hard to earn when value is obvious. It only gets hard when your offer is confusing or unneeded. So stop trying to be different just to stand out. Stop trying to go viral. Stop chasing attention for the sake of visibility. That stuff fades. That stuff doesn't last. Real success is when your solution keeps getting shared because it actually works. That's when trust grows. That's when people stick with you. And you don't have to invent something new. You just have to improve what's already being used. Look around. Most of the wealth today was built by taking something people already use and making it better. A better app, a faster process, a cleaner layout, a more affordable option, a smarter tool. The opportunity is already there, but you have to stop overthinking and start building. You can learn almost any skill today. You can use free tools to design, develop, test, and launch ideas. The resources are not the problem. The problem is people spend more time consuming than creating. They watch other people build instead of building their own thing. They talk about plans more than they act on them. That's why they stay stuck. That's why nothing changes. You've got to switch your mindset from what should I build for me to what do people need right now. That's where the money is. That's where purpose starts. That's where your momentum begins. Because once you solve one problem, you gain trust. Once you gain trust, you gain attention. Once you gain attention, the income follows. But if you start with money and ignore the need, it all falls apart. So get real with yourself. What are you good at that helps people solve problems? What do you understand better than most? What can you improve today that others are struggling with? Those answers are not hidden, they're everywhere. But you have to be willing to slow down and look, not scroll, look. Ask questions, observe, study what people complain about. That's where the best businesses start. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know everything. You just need to start. Start with one small problem and fix it better than anyone else around you. That's how trust is built. That's how money shows up. That's how growth becomes natural. And if you fail, you adjust. If something doesn't work, you change it. But don't stop. Keep building, keep learning, keep showing up. The more useful you become, the less you have to chase anything. Because value attracts opportunity. Value creates reputation. Value earns loyalty, and loyalty turns into long-term success. The world is already noisy. You don't need more hype. You need more substance. You need to be the one who brings clarity to the confusion, the one who fixes what others complain about, the one who makes people's lives easier with real solutions. And remember this, people can feel when something is real. They can tell when you've done the work. They trust what feels authentic. So be that person. Be the builder. Be the one who shows up, solves problems, delivers value, and keeps getting better at it. That's how you get paid. That's how money comes to you. That's how you create something that lasts. Build something useful that people already want now, not later, not when it's perfect, not after more planning, now. Because usefulness doesn't wait for perfect timing. It just needs someone who's serious enough to do the work. Be that person. Start building today. Number 3, charge higher. Because cheap never builds real success. If you're doing something valuable, you need to charge like it's valuable. You can't ask the world to respect your work if you keep putting a discount on your worth. People don't take cheap seriously. When you underprice what you do, you send a signal that it's not powerful enough to charge more. And deep down, you feel it too. You know you've spent time learning, practicing, growing, testing, refining. So why pretend your work is average? Why price it like it doesn't matter? Success doesn't come from being the cheapest option. It never has. It comes from building something strong, showing people the real impact it brings, and standing tall behind your value. People respect confidence. They respect clarity. They respect those who know their worth and don't hesitate to charge for it. When you price low, you attract the wrong mindset. You attract people who question everything, people who don't respect your time, people who want results without effort. And those are not the people who help you grow. They drain you. Every successful person I've ever known learned this hard truth early. If you build something that solves problems, changes lives, saves time, or improves people's path, you're allowed to charge more. Not because you're greedy, but because you've earned it. If you've studied, improved, delivered, and sacrificed your own time to bring something real to the table, you don't need to feel guilty for asking what it's worth. That's not ego, that's alignment. When you charge higher, you give more. You show up stronger. You're more focused. You're more invested. Why? Because the people you're working with are serious. They didn't choose you because you were the cheapest. They chose you because they believed in your value. That belief brings out the best in you. That energy builds results. That trust creates momentum. Undercharging is not being humble. It's being afraid. Afraid of rejection. Afraid someone might say it's too much. Afraid they might walk away. But if someone walks away because your price reflects your value, that's not a loss. That's alignment. That's the wrong person making space for the right one. Because here's what happens when you charge higher. You attract those who are committed, people who are ready, people who are willing to invest in themselves. And those are the people who take action. Apply what you give them and tell others about your work. Too many people try to be liked instead of respected. They drop their prices hoping to please everyone. But success doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from standing firm in who you are, what you offer, and what it's worth. And when you operate from that place, people feel it. They might not all say yes, but they'll remember you. They'll trust you. They'll come back when they're ready. You don't need everyone. You just need the right ones. The ones who value quality. The ones who understand the long-term payoff. The ones who don't want average. They want results. And they're willing to pay for it. Because people always pay for what they believe is worth it. Always. Look around. Every industry. Every niche. The top performers are not the cheapest. They're the ones who built trust, delivered value, and stood by their price. If you want to grow, you have to stop pricing from fear. You have to stop asking, will they think it's too much? And start asking, is this price a true reflection of the value I bring? Because when your work helps people grow, save time, gain clarity, or earn more, you are not just selling time, you're selling transformation. And transformation is never cheap. Think about the mindset behind cheap. Cheap says, I hope you pick me. Cheap says, I'm not sure if this is enough. Cheap says, please don't expect too much. But high value says, I know what I bring. It says, I've done the work. It says, this will move you forward if you commit. You're not in business to beg. You're in business to serve. And service is strongest when it comes from strength, not fear. Raising your price doesn't just change how others see you. It changes how you see yourself. You start respecting your time more. You start saying no to things that don't align. You start focusing on delivering deeper results instead of juggling low-paying demands. It brings you back to your core. It helps you rebuild your energy, your focus, your belief. You don't owe anyone cheap. What you owe is honesty, value, and effort. But that effort must be returned. If someone won't invest in their growth, they're not ready, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean you should shrink yourself to fit their doubts. Don't sell yourself short to get more yeses. That path will burn you out. That path will leave you resentful. That path will never lead to the kind of success you're truly capable of. People will only take you as seriously as you take yourself. If you act like what you offer is powerful, life-changing, and rare, others will too. But if you speak timidly, if you hesitate, if you price it like you're unsure, that's what they'll feel. And they won't say anything, they'll just walk away. So take the time to refine your work. Build something solid. Make sure what you offer actually delivers, and then price it with the strength it deserves. You don't have to be the most expensive, but you need to stop being the cheapest, because the cheapest never leads the market. The cheapest never owns the room. The cheapest never creates loyalty. It creates suspicion. It creates hesitation, and it puts you in a cycle that's hard to break. You deserve to be paid well for real results, but you must believe that first. You must live it. You must act it out in every conversation, every offer, every piece of communication. Show people that what they're getting is worth every dollar, and then prove it with consistency, with care, with performance. That's what builds real success. Not discounts, not deals, not begging for attention, but delivering something real and pricing it like it matters. Because it does. And the sooner you own that truth, the sooner your life changes, not just in your bank account, but in your confidence, your energy, your time, your freedom. It all begins with that one decision: charge higher, because cheap never builds anything that lasts. Number 4, fix your habits before chasing another quick dollar. If you're always chasing the next dollar but never fixing your daily habits, you're only building a temporary life. You're not growing, you're reacting. And when life is built on reaction, nothing is stable. You run after every opportunity, every shortcut, every new promise, but you never take the time to fix the foundation. That's why the results don't last. That's why the money disappears as quickly as it comes in. That's why you feel tired but don't feel accomplished. Because no matter how many wins you collect, if your habits are broken, the success will always fall apart. Habits decide everything. They decide how you think, how you feel, how you work, and how far you go. They shape your mindset, your decisions, and your direction. If your habits are weak, no amount of motivation can save you. If your habits are chaotic, your results will be inconsistent. You can't create a strong life with sloppy behavior, and you can't cheat that. Eventually, the truth shows. People often think they need a better opportunity. They say they just need one big break, one good idea, one lucky connection. But the truth is, most people are not prepared to handle success, even if it landed in their lap. They haven't built the discipline. They haven't mastered their routines. They haven't cleaned up the way they use their time. And so, when a door opens, they walk through it with the same bad habits, and it closes right behind them. You have to slow down and look at how you live day to day. Are you consistent? Are you honest with your time? Do you follow through when nobody's watching? Do you plan your day or do you wing it? Do you prioritize your goals or your distractions? These are not small questions. These are the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. People who win long term are not the ones who work harder once in a while. They're the ones who fix their system. They build routines that support their goals. They build structure around their energy. They treat their time like it matters. And because of that, they don't need to chase every opportunity. They create them. If you want real growth, fix your wake-up time. Fix how you start your day. Fix how often you check your phone. Fix how long you sit in comfort. Fix how many hours you waste thinking instead of doing. You don't need a new hustle. You need a new level of discipline. You need to build systems that make success automatic, not just emotion. Every time you chase a quick dollar before fixing your habits, you trade real growth for temporary pleasure. You get a short win, but you stay in the same cycle. That's why you feel like you're starting over all the time. That's why you feel burned out without real results. Because you're putting energy into chasing, but not into building. You can't build a strong body without strong habits. You can't build a growing business without consistent focus. You can't build meaningful income if your day is full of scattered actions and poor time management. Habits are the real secret. Not the idea, not the hype, not the trends. Just consistent habits that are aligned with where you want to go. Most people don't want to hear this. They want shortcuts. They want the secret to fast money. But fast money without strong habits is just another way to burn out. If you're not managing your focus, you'll blow it. If you're not controlling your urges, you'll waste it. If you're not steady, you'll slip. And here's the part that matters. Fixing your habits is not about being perfect. It's about being real. Real enough to say, this is not helping me. Real enough to stop pretending you're productive when you're just busy. Real enough to stop blaming luck and start owning your day. When you fix your habits, your life begins to move different. You don't need hype to feel progress. You feel it in your clarity, your discipline, your control. A lot of people will outtalk you. They'll promise more. They'll act louder, but they can't outlast you if you have better habits. Because habits are the engine. When your habits are sharp, you don't get tired from progress, you get energized. You don't need outside validation to stay on track. You've built the inner structure to keep going. So if you're serious about leveling up, don't just chase the next dollar. Chase a better version of your daily system. Fix what's sloppy. Fix what's stealing your time. Fix what's distracting you. Every bad habit you ignore is a block between you and the life you want. You don't need to wait for anything to do this. You don't need a perfect Monday or a new month or a new year. You just need to decide that the way you're living right now isn't enough. Not because you're failing, but because you know you're capable of more. And more isn't about working longer. It's about working smart. It's about cutting the nonsense and locking in. If your mornings are rushed and unplanned, fix them. If your nights are wasted and mindless, fix them. If you keep avoiding hard tasks, fix that pattern. If you always start strong and fall off, fix your follow-through. Stop treating your habits like they're random. They are shaping your entire future, whether you admit it or not. The people you admire, the ones who seem disciplined, sharp, calm, focused, they're not special. They're consistent. They're not chasing every shiny thing. They're building quietly. They know that the quick wins are just noise, without structure behind them. So they fix the structure first. They take care of their routines. They manage their energy. And that's why they rise. You can do the same, but you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop saying, I'll fix it later. You have to stop hoping money will solve what discipline hasn't. Because it won't. Money can amplify your life, but it won't fix your life. Only habits do that. Only daily patterns have the power to change who you are becoming. So look at your day, not your goals, not your dreams, your actual day. What do you do when you wake up? How much of your time is wasted? How often do you do things that move you forward? How often do you fall into patterns that keep you small? That's where the truth lives. That's where your real life is happening. You don't need more chances. You need more control. You need to take back your calendar. Take back your mornings. Take back your focus. Because without those things, you'll keep chasing the same old cycle. And nothing changes until your habits do. Nothing improves until your structure does. Nothing lasts until your patterns do. So stop chasing another quick dollar. Fix your habits first. Build a life where money is a byproduct of your daily strength, not your daily stress. That's how real success is made. That's how freedom is earned. That's how you become unstoppable. One day, one pattern, one strong habit at a time. Number 5. Talk less and put in more quiet action. Most people talk too much about what they're going to do and do too little about actually doing it. They speak their goals, explain their ideas, and repeat their plans. But there's no movement behind the words. They feel satisfied just by saying it out loud, even when nothing changes in their routine. But real progress doesn't respond to what you say. It only responds to what you do. Quiet action always wins. It doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't beg for applause. It just builds. And in time, it shows. When you talk less, you begin to see where your energy is really going. You become aware of how often you're using words as a cover for inaction. You notice how easy it is to tell others about your goals instead of making them real. You don't need to tell people what you're about to do. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to work or you need to stay grounded. You need to stop talking long enough to get things done. Words are cheap when they're not backed by results. Promises don't matter without proof. And if you keep speaking about the life you want, but don't change how you live, no one will believe you, including yourself. Confidence doesn't come from talking a big game. It comes from watching yourself follow through. It comes from building things that matter when no one's watching. The people who grow the most are not the loudest. They are focused. They are quiet. They are disciplined. They don't waste time explaining every move. They let their consistency speak. They understand that doing the work is far more powerful than talking about the work. Because results speak a language that everyone understands. Quietly, clearly, and without effort. You don't need to broadcast your hustle. You don't need to post every step. You don't need to make noise to prove your work. Most of the progress that changes your life will happen behind closed doors. It will happen in silence, when you're alone with your habits, when you choose discipline over comfort, when you sacrifice distraction for progress. Quiet action is your best advantage. It keeps you focused on what matters. It keeps your energy on the process. It helps you avoid the trap of performing for others. When you work in silence, you stop looking for approval. You stop caring who's watching. You stop comparing your pace to anyone else's. You move at your own speed. You build with precision. You improve with every rep. That's how success is earned. Every time you explain your plans, ask yourself, who are you trying to convince? If you're trying to convince others, maybe you haven't convinced yourself. Maybe you're trying to feel progress through words because your actions haven't caught up yet. That's not judgment. That's awareness. And once you become aware, you can change it. You can stop announcing and start applying. You can stop talking and start building. There is strength in being silent, not passive, not weak, silent and focused. You don't have to announce every move. You don't need approval to keep going. You don't need validation to believe in your mission. You just need to show up again. You just need to do the work. You just need to keep going, even when nobody claps. And when you do that, something shifts. You start to trust yourself. You stop needing others to understand your grind. You stop needing feedback to feel progress. You find power in your own rhythm. You build momentum not through hype, but through habits. That's where real growth begins. In the silence, in the practice, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the moments where you could post, but instead you choose to prepare. That's the work that lasts. The world is full of noise. Everybody's trying to look busy. Everyone's trying to be seen. But you're not here to be loud. You're here to be effective. You're not here to impress. You're here to improve. And the more you focus on the work, the more the work will speak for itself. There's a reason the most respected people say the least. They've learned that value isn't built through words. It's built through action. They don't need to convince you. They let their results do the talking. And you can do the same. You don't need to explain your mindset. You don't need to defend your decisions. You don't need to warn people about your next move. Just make the move. You don't owe anyone an update. You owe yourself results. That's where the peace comes from. That's where the confidence grows. When you start seeing progress, not because you talked about it, but because you created it, because you showed up when it wasn't exciting, because you worked when no one clapped, because you kept your focus while others kept explaining. Talking less doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to protect your energy. It means you respect the process. It means you've matured past the need to be seen. You're not proving anything. You're improving everything. And when you live like that, everything changes. You move with purpose. You build with care. You keep your head down, not in shame, but in strength. And when your time comes, it won't be because you made noise. It'll be because you made progress, quietly, consistently, powerfully. So start today. Cut back the talk. Sharpen the work. Spend more time creating than explaining. Put your time into action instead of attention. You don't need more announcements. You need more discipline. You don't need more promises. You need more proof. And the best part is, once you start living this way, your life gets simpler. You stop overthinking. You stop over-explaining. You stop trying to be understood. You start becoming unshakable. Because when you build your life on quiet action, you don't need permission. You don't need permission to focus. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need permission to win. You just need to get back to the basics. Wake, do the work. Keep it moving. No broadcast, no breakdown, no big announcement, just solid action, repeated with purpose, over and over, until the life you've been talking about becomes the life you live. Because you finally stopped talking and built it with your own two hands, in silence, on purpose, for real. Number 6. Wake up early and beat lazy people daily. There's something powerful about waking up early. It's not just about having more time. It's about taking control of your life before the world wakes up and distracts you. When most people are still sleeping, you're moving. When they're in bed scrolling, you're already planning, building, working. That edge, those quiet hours where nobody interrupts you, gives you more advantage than talent ever will. Waking up early isn't just a habit. It's a decision to live differently, to separate yourself from the average, to prove that your goals mean something to you, not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. Most people lose before the day even begins. They hit snooze. They say they'll start tomorrow. They give in to comfort. But you don't become strong by choosing comfort. You grow by doing the opposite. The discipline to get out of bed when your mind wants more sleep is the same discipline that builds a winning life. You start the day ahead, and you keep that lead all day long. While others are catching up, you're already moving forward. While they're talking about what they'll do, you've already done it. The earlier you rise, the more silence you get. The more time you get to think. The more focus you get to build. That clarity makes you sharper. Not just for the morning, but for everything you do. You make better decisions. You start with momentum. You don't need to rush because you gave yourself space. That's something most people never feel. They start every day behind, chasing the clock, running from stress. You're in control before the noise even starts. And don't just wake up early to brag about it. Wake up early to earn results, to work on your skills, to organize your priorities, to build a system that works when motivation doesn't. The early hours should not be wasted with distraction. They are for creation, for improvement, for doing the things that move your life forward while others are still in bed. It's not about hating on lazy people. It's about making sure you don't become one. It's about doing more than the bare minimum. Because the world pays you based on what you produce, not what you intend. And you can't produce anything if your day starts at noon. If your morning disappears in excuses, don't expect your evening to bring results. The strongest people, the ones who lead, the ones who grow, they don't wait for the right mood. They wake up with a plan. and attack the day early. You beat laziness by proving you want your future more than your comfort. Every morning you wake up early is a win over the part of you that wants to stay the same. That win builds confidence. That win builds discipline. And the more wins you stack, the less room you have for excuses. Most people say they don't have time. That's not true. They're just not managing their hours. They're sleeping on potential, wasting mornings, and wondering why their life feels stuck. You don't need to be perfect with your time. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. Get up when the alarm rings. Don't argue with it. Don't negotiate with your feelings. Just get up and move. You'll never regret getting up early and doing something meaningful. But you'll regret every time you stayed in bed and let your goals wait. The pain of missing progress will always last longer than the short discomfort of getting out of bed. The best part is, the more consistent you become, the easier it gets. Your mind adjusts. Your body adapts. And that early time becomes something you crave. It becomes your space to breathe, to learn, to focus. You start realizing how much time you actually have. You stop saying I'm too busy because you've built extra hours into your day by getting ahead of the world. Use those hours wisely. Don't waste them on mindless content or background noise. Use them to build habits that last. Study something useful. Write your plans. Work on your craft. Push your body. Reflect on your progress. All before most people even check their phones. That's power. That's structure. That's what separates the people who grow from the people who coast. There's no secret to success, but there are patterns. And one of the most common is this. Winners wake up early and get things done before the world distracts them. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't delay action until it's convenient. They take those early hours and use them to lay the foundation for the rest of the day. That's not just strategy, it's a standard. You don't need to start with 3 hours of work before sunrise. You just need to start by getting up early and doing one thing that matters. Build that muscle. Strengthen that habit. Over time, you'll gain more clarity, more control, and more progress. And that's what beats lazy people. Not words, not ego, not competition, just quiet consistency that adds up over time. And you'll notice something else. When you start waking up early, you start valuing the rest of your time more. You stop wasting night. You stop putting off the important tasks. You build a life that runs on discipline, not emotion. That's what changes everything. Not just how you work, but how you live. You feel more prepared, more steady, more locked in, because you're not rushing anymore. You're leading. Success doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the structured. It belongs to the ones who wake up and show up without needing praise. The ones who move early and make their goals non-negotiable. You can be that person. You can build that rhythm. And once you do, you'll look back and wonder why you ever waited on the world to catch up to your ambition. Start early. Work in silence. Get ahead. Not just once, but every day. That's how you win. That's how you build something that lasts. Not through luck, not through noise, but through one decision that says, I will not waste another morning. You beat lazy people daily by becoming the kind of person who doesn't give them a chance to catch up, because you already moved, because you already acted, because you already earned what they're still talking about. That's the difference. And it all starts with the choice to rise early and get to work. Number 7, cut your distractions or stay broke forever, silently. Most people are not losing because they lack talent. They're losing because they keep getting distracted. They get pulled in every direction, always looking for something new, something easier, something more exciting. But nothing meaningful ever comes from scattered focus. The truth is hard. If you don't cut your distractions, you'll stay broke. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and in your potential. You'll keep wasting time on things that bring nothing in return. The world is full of noise. And unless you take control of what enters your mind, your life will stay stuck. Distractions don't always look like problems. Sometimes they look like entertainment. They look like notifications, mindless scrolling, endless videos, meaningless debates, constant replies, all harmless in small doses. But when they start running your day, you lose your edge. 1 hour here, 30 minutes there, it adds up. What could have been focused energy gets drained without you even noticing. And while you're scrolling through someone else's life, yours is slipping away quietly. You've got to wake up to what's stealing your future. You have to pay attention to how easily you're pulled off track. Every time you give your energy to something that doesn't serve your vision, you're choosing short-term comfort over long-term growth. Distractions are not neutral. They come with a cost, and that cost is the life you said you wanted, but never built. Nobody is coming to take the distractions away from you. That's your job. You've got to be the one who says, I'm done wasting time on things that don't pay me back. Because if you don't say it, no one else will. Your phone won't tell you to stop. Social media won't tell you to focus. The algorithm doesn't care about your goals. You have to be smarter than the things trying to keep you small. Cutting distractions is not just about removing what's obvious. It's about taking full control of what you allow into your space. It's about choosing what gets your attention, because what you focus on grows. And if your focus is split between everything, don't be surprised when you make progress in nothing. You can't multitask your way to mastery. You have to lock in. You have to go deep. You have to protect your time like your future depends on it. Because it does. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. Most people have enough hours in the day. They're just using them wrong. They're letting everyone else's urgency become their priority. They check every message, react to every comment, jump from one app to the next, without ever getting into a real flow. That's why they feel tired, but unproductive. That's why the days blur together. That's why they say they're busy but have nothing to show for it. It doesn't have to be like that. You can change it. You can take back your hours, but you have to be honest with yourself first. Where is your time really going? What keeps pulling you away from your goals? What are you avoiding by staying distracted? These questions matter, because until you face them, you'll keep repeating the same cycle, working hard but never getting ahead. Distractions are easy. Focus is a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. You've got to train your brain to stay with one task. You've got to teach yourself how to resist the urge to check, click, scroll, reply. Every time you resist, you build strength. Every time you stay on task, you get sharper. And that sharpness adds up. That discipline stacks. Over time, it separates you from everyone who gave in. You'll notice it too. Your mind gets clearer. Your goals feel closer. You start finishing what you start. You start moving faster. Not because you're rushing, but because you're not wasting energy anymore. You're not bleeding time into distraction. You're focused. And that focus multiplies your efforts. Cutting distractions also means making hard choices. You might have to turn down events. You might need to leave group chats. You might have to delete apps. You might even need to walk away from people who don't respect your priority. And that's not selfish. That's self-respect. That's you saying, I want more from life than this. That's you choosing to rise while others are choosing to stay where they are. If you want to be average, distractions are enough. If you want to be great, you have to make different choices. You have to build a different standard. That standard starts with saying no. No to meaningless inputs. No to wasted hours. No to conversations that lead nowhere. No to habits that slow you down. And when you say no to those things, you say yes to growth. Yes to peace. Yes to time. Yes to space where your best ideas can breathe. Don't wait for the perfect moment to get focused. Create it. Set boundaries. Block time. Protect your mornings. Limit the noise. Take your attention back. You don't need permission. You need decision. You need to stop being available to everything and start being committed to something. You can't afford to keep living like this, because every day you stay distracted is another day you delay your goals. Another day your potential sits on the shelf. Another day you fall behind while someone else, someone with no more talent than you, uses their time wisely and pulls ahead. That gap grows daily. And if you don't change something, you'll wake up years from now with regret, louder than the distractions ever were. You don't want that life. You don't want to wonder where all your time went. You don't want to explain to yourself why the money never came, the progress never stuck, the dream never lived, and the truth will be simple. You stayed distracted. You didn't cut what needed to be cut. You didn't focus when it mattered. You chose comfort over control. But that can change today, right now. It starts with a decision to stop letting distractions run your life. It starts with you owning your time. It starts with you saying, I'm not doing this anymore. From there, you simplify. You cut. You focus. You build. And you don't stop. Because staying broke mentally or financially, is a price too high to pay for a few empty hours of scrolling, watching, reacting. You're not here to survive your days. You're here to use them. You're here to grow, to build something, to become someone with clarity, direction, and power. That begins with cutting distractions before they cost you everything. Because they will. Quietly, slowly, permanently. And the worst part is, you won't even see it happening until it's too late. So don't wait. Don't justify it. Don't say, it's just 5 minutes. Cut it. Cut what doesn't feed you. Cut what doesn't push you. Cut what keeps you distracted and broke. And step fully into a life that's built on clarity, purpose, and progress. The choice is yours. Always has been. Always will be. Number 8. Ask for the money you know you deserve. If you've done the work, if you've learned the skill, if you've shown up and delivered value again and again, then you have every right to ask for the money you know you deserve. But most people don't. They lower their voice when it comes to price. They hesitate. They question their worth. They hope someone else will see their value instead of standing strong in it themselves. That hesitation isn't humility, it's fear. And fear doesn't feed your future. There is nothing wrong with being paid well for doing something well. If you've helped someone improve, save time, get results, solve a problem, or grow in any meaningful way, your time wasn't free. It was valuable. But it's not enough to do good work. You have to claim what you've earned. Because if you don't ask for it, most people won't offer it. The world doesn't automatically reward effort. It rewards clarity and strength. It rewards people who know what they bring to the table and aren't afraid to speak up. Asking for the money you deserve starts with belief. If you don't believe in what you're offering, it shows. You shrink, you apologize, you hesitate. But when you believe fully in your own value, you speak with confidence. You explain your price without flinching. You don't try to justify it, you state it, because you know what it's worth. You know how long it took to develop. You know the hours, the failures, the practice, the consistency behind that offer. And that's not something you discount. Too many people undercharge because they're afraid of rejection. They want to be liked. They think asking for more will scare people away. But here's the truth. The right people are never scared of fair prices. The right clients, the right customers, the right opportunities. They respect people who own their value. It actually builds trust. When you set a clear price and stand by it, people see that you respect your own time, and they follow your lead. If you keep lowering your price to please others, you'll never rise. You'll attract the kind of people who expect more for less, and that will drain you. It will stretch you thin. It will make you question your ability. And eventually, it will burn you out. Because you can't build a strong future on weak deals. You need to be paid what your work is worth. Not just to make money, but to stay sharp, stay motivated, and stay growing. Your value doesn't live in someone else's opinion. It lives in your standards. And if you're afraid to ask for what you've earned, you'll always live in someone else's comfort zone. You'll stay small to make others feel big. But that's not leadership. That's not business. That's not success. That's survival. And you're not here to survive. You're here to build, to lead, to provide real solutions. And that comes with a price. Asking for the money you deserve also means knowing how to communicate your value clearly. Not with hype, not with fake urgency, just with truth. What problem do you solve? How does your work help people move forward? What kind of result can they expect? Show them. Be direct. Be honest. Be specific. And once they understand that, price becomes a reflection of that value. Not a guess, not a favor, a fair exchange. The truth is, you teach people how to treat you. If you're always giving away your work, if you're always saying yes to discounts, if you're afraid to ask for what it's worth, don't be surprised when people treat you like you're replaceable. That's not their fault. That's your signal. You have to raise it. You have to let people know that you take your time seriously, that you take your work seriously, that you take yourself seriously. And the moment you do, the dynamic shifts. People respect clarity. They respect certainty. And if you hesitate, they will too. If you act unsure, they'll question it. If you discount without being asked, they'll assume you don't believe in it either. This isn't about being arrogant. It's about being grounded. It's about understanding that value is not just about price. It's about and if your work creates impact, your income should reflect that. You don't owe anyone a free version of your future. You've worked for your skill set. You've sacrificed. You've struggled. You've grown. That comes with a price tag. It's not just about what you do today. It's about everything it took to get here. Every hour you put in when no one saw. Every late night. Every book. Every course. Every risk. That's the story behind the price. That's what people are paying for. Not just your time, but your journey. Not just the task, but the transformation. And you know when you're undercharging. You feel it. You feel the resentment. You feel the drag. You feel the weight of doing too much for too little. That feeling doesn't lie. It's your signal to change something. Because when you price your work below its value, you don't just lose money, you lose respect for the process. And eventually, you lose momentum. Raise your standard. Set your price based on real value. Say it without apologizing. If someone says it's too much, that's okay. You're not for everyone, and you don't need to be. You're for the people who get it. The people who see the results. The people who want quality. The people who are ready to invest in what works. That's your audience. That's your lane. And once you start asking for the money you know you deserve, something shifts inside you. You show up better. You feel more driven. You serve with more energy. Because now the exchange is balanced. Now the work feels good. Now your value is matched. And from that space you grow. Not just in income, but in influence, in clarity, in fulfillment. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping people will figure it out. Stop trying to be the cheapest to be accepted. You don't build legacy through discounts. You build it through strength, through service, through result, through knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. You deserve to be paid well, but you must believe that before anyone else does. You must own it in your actions. You must speak it in your voice, and you must charge like it's true, because it is. And the moment you live like that, everything changes. Not just what you earn, but who you become. Number 9. Use your phone to sell, not to scroll. The same device that's stealing your time can build your future. It all depends on how you use it. Your phone can be the most powerful tool in your life, or the biggest distraction you carry in your pocket. Most people scroll. They scroll out of boredom. They scroll to avoid the pressure of doing something hard. They scroll because it feels easy. It feels harmless, and it doesn't ask anything from them. But every minute spent scrolling is a minute lost. Not just in time, but in focus, energy, and growth. If you're serious about your goals, you need to turn your phone into a tool for building, not escaping. Your phone connects you to everyone. That means it connects you to opportunity. Every platform, every app, every contact list, it all has potential. But potential only works when you act on it. There are people making money from their phone every single day. They're not special. They've just decided to use the tool differently. Instead of watching other people live, they're building something others want. Instead of getting entertained, they're getting paid. That choice is always available, but most people ignore it. You don't need more time. You need more purpose. You need to take the hours you already spend on your phone and ask yourself, what am I actually building? Because if all your energy goes into watching, reacting, liking, and commenting, then you're fueling someone else's success, not your own. If you're constantly consuming but never creating, your future is shrinking while someone else's grows. That's not bad luck. That's misused energy. You can sell knowledge. You can sell skills. You can sell products. You can sell your time, your voice, your ideas, your service. You can use your phone to find clients, close deals, follow up, network, promote, pitch, build, brand, serve. You have more tools on your phone right now than people had running companies 20 years ago. That's not an exaggeration. That's the truth. But if you're only using it for comfort, you'll never use it for income. Start by being honest about your habit. How much time do you spend looking at people who aren't even thinking about you? How much time do you spend reading things that don't apply to your life? How often do you open an app out of habit, not purpose? That's where your energy is leaking. That's where your focus disappears. If you don't fix that, no amount of motivation can make up for the time you lose daily. Using your phone to sell doesn't mean becoming someone you're not. It means showing people what you know, what you offer, and how it helps. It means solving problems. It means reaching out. It means creating real value and putting it in front of people who need it. Most people are scared of selling. They think it means being pushy. But selling is serving. If what you offer helps someone, you're not bothering them. You're helping them move forward. Your phone is a store, a stage, a tool, a system. But it's only useful if you treat it that way. If you keep using it to pass time, you'll keep getting the same results. You'll stay where you are, feeling like you're always behind, watching others build while you get stuck in distraction. That doesn't have to be your story. You can flip the script. You can turn that screen into your system. You can turn followers into buyers. You can turn attention into action. But you have to stop scrolling and start producing. Every post you make can teach, share, or invite. Every message you send can open a door. Every video, every offer, every story. It's all a chance to show up with purpose. And the more you do that, the more confident you get. The more you show people what you bring to the table, the more people start to take you seriously. But you have to be consistent. You have to be patient. You have to stay focused long enough for the results to show up. Most people quit too soon. They try once or twice, don't see instant results, and go back to scrolling. That's the trap. That's the cycle. That's how potential dies. But when you treat this seriously, like a business, like a mission, your energy changes. You wake up with direction. You check your phone with a reason. You stop letting the algorithm decide your mood. You become the creator, not the consumer. You don't need a big following. You need a clear offer and a strong message. You need to show people how what you do helps. That's it. And you already have what it takes to do that. You've learned things. You've overcome things. You've helped people. That experience is valuable. Use it. Share it. Build something with it. But don't keep it buried under endless distractions. There's money in your phone, but it won't come from entertainment. It comes from solving problems. It comes from adding value. It comes from staying consistent when others quit. You have to train yourself to look at that screen and see possibility, not just entertainment. You have to remind yourself that the phone is not the problem. Your habits are, and habits can be changed. Replace scrolling with scheduling. Replace reacting with reaching out. Replace passive watching with active building. You're not just someone with a phone. You're someone with ideas, value, experience, and purpose. Don't waste that on someone else's feed. Create your own. Share your lessons. Build your offer. Show up every day with clarity. Even 1 hour a day used intentionally on your phone can change your life. 1 hour reaching out. 1 hour promoting. 1 hour refining your product or service. 1 hour engaging with people who need what you have. That's how progress starts. Not with hype, not with luck, just with small, focused, intentional steps, repeated daily. Nobody is going to force you to do this. It's on you. And that's the good news, because it means you don't need permission. You don't need anyone to hand you a chance. You already have it. It's right there in your hand, every day. But the question is, what will you do with it? Will you scroll until the day ends? Or will you sell something that changes your future? It doesn't matter how late you start. What matters is how quickly you What matters is how often you remind yourself that comfort won't make you wealthy, and distraction won't build the life you want. Only focus will. Only effort will. Only action will. So pick up your phone today, not to kill time, but to build something that matters. And because every step you take toward using it with purpose is a step away from staying stuck in someone else's story. Write your own. Sell, serve, show up, and build the life that's waiting for you on the other side of distraction. Number 10. Do hard things daily until money chases you. Most people want success, but they don't want the pressure that comes with it. They want the results, but not the effort. They want to be respected, but they avoid discomfort. That's why they stay average. That's why they repeat the same year over and over. If you want money to chase you, if you want opportunity to find you, if you want to live life on your terms, you have to do hard things daily. Not once a week, not when you feel good, not when it's easy, every single day. Hard things don't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's making that call you've been avoiding. Sometimes it's sitting with your work when you'd rather scroll. Sometimes it's being honest with yourself when excuses are easier. The hard things are the ones that force you to grow. They break comfort. They demand focus. They reveal what you're really made of, and most people dodge them. They build their life around avoiding effort. Then they wonder why the money never comes, why the energy is low, why the vision is blurry. It's because the reward always waits on the other side of the work. You don't get paid for what you talk about. You don't get results for planning alone. You get paid for doing the things other people avoid. You get results from showing up when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, when it's lonely. That's when you build strength. That's when you earn respect. Not from others, but from yourself. You learn to trust your own word. You learn to count on your own decisions. That's what creates momentum. And that momentum builds income. That momentum attracts opportunity. Money doesn't move toward talkers. It moves toward doers. And not just any doers, but the ones who take action without waiting for perfect conditions. You have to train yourself to get things done without needing to feel ready. That's what separates real progress from wishful thinking. Every time you choose to face the hard thing instead of avoiding it, you prove that you're ready for more. You open the door to a different kind of life. You don't need to do everything at once. You just need to wake up every day and pick one hard thing and do it. It might be a conversation. It might be a task you keep putting off. It might be working on your health, fixing your finances, refining your skill. But it needs to be uncomfortable. It needs to challenge you. Because comfort is the enemy of growth. And if you stay in comfort, don't expect your situation to change. Most people want a version of success that feels easy. They search for shortcuts. They follow trends. They copy what they think is working. But there's no shortcut to discipline. There's no hack for consistency. You have to earn it. And you earn it one difficult action at a time. You build a foundation that doesn't collapse under pressure. You become the kind of person who can be trusted with bigger challenges. And that trust, earned through effort, is what the world responds to. You won't always see results right away, but don't confuse silence with failure. When you do the hard things consistently, your character changes, your confidence grows, your habits upgrade. That shift is quiet, but it's powerful. It builds momentum you can't fake. And eventually, people notice. The results begin to appear. The money starts to follow. Not because you begged for it, but because you became valuable. Doing hard things isn't about punishing yourself. It's about proving that your goals matter. It's about rising above the mindset that waits for things to feel easy. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless, but you do need to be willing. Willing to show up when it's inconvenient. Willing to keep going when it's hard to focus. Willing to outwork your old self daily. Every hard thing you avoid becomes a weight on your progress. It doesn't disappear. It waits. And the longer you wait to face it, the heavier it becomes. So stop pushing it to tomorrow. Take control today. Look at what you've been avoiding and step into it. That's where your growth lives. That's where your next level begins. There's something powerful about building momentum through effort. Not from luck, not from praise, just effort. You don't need someone to believe in you. You need to act like someone who believes in themselves. That belief isn't loud. It's consistent. It shows up when nobody's watching. It keeps going when others quit. It wins slowly and quietly until the results speak for themselves. Don't wait for motivation. Use movement. Motion creates clarity. Action creates energy. Every time you do something hard, you take power back from the excuses, from the fear, from the distractions. And when you do that day after day, you become unstoppable. You build a version of yourself that doesn't wait for opportunity. You create it. You'll see people around you choosing ease. Let them. That's their path. But you're choosing a different standing. You're choosing to do what most people won't. And because of that, you'll live a life most people never will. Not just in money, but in confidence, in purpose, in strength. You'll build a reputation that can't be ignored. Not because you shouted, but because you delivered. Again and again. Keep doing the hard things, even when you're tired, even when nobody sees it, especially when it's inconvenient. That's where breakthroughs are made. That's where identity shifts. That's where you stop being someone who hopes for success and become someone who earns it. Because when you do the hard things daily, money has no choice but to pay attention. You won't have to chase it. You'll attract it, not by chance, but by building yourself into someone worth investing in. Someone who's consistent, someone who's reliable, someone who gets results because they show up, not because they feel like it, but because they made a decision to live at a higher level. That's how the game is won. That's how wealth is built. That's how lives change. And you can start right now, today. Don't wait for a perfect plan. Don't wait for permission. Just choose one hard thing and do it. Then do another tomorrow. Stack them, repeat them, build on them, until discipline is your default, until effort is normal, until success is no longer a surprise, but an expectation. You were never meant to settle. You were meant to rise, and you rise by doing the hard things daily, until the life you once chased starts chasing you. Now you've heard the truth, not the hype, not the noise, just the truth. If you want money to come to you like crazy, you've got to earn it in your habits, your mindset, and your daily choices. This is not about luck. This is about what you do when no one's watching. The money will always show up for the person who shows up first, for themselves, their time, and their discipline. Most people will leave this video and go right back to the same habits. But if you're different, if you really listened, then this wasn't just another video. This was your warning. This was your shift. And what you do next will prove whether you were ready or not. So take what hit you hardest, write it down, act on it. Change one thing today that you know you've been avoiding. Because when you move with intention, money moves with you. And when you're ready for the next level, come back here, watch this again, bring your focus, bring your hunger. Because this is just the beginning. You listen once, but you live this every day. And when you do, money doesn't just come, it stays.